some of the foster care and placement as one of the things we do in social work. This is a video that popped up recently. We are finishing chapter.
I work in the Plant City Police Department. On July 13th, 2005, myself and my partner came to the house. This is the house right here. I knocked on the door and a female came to the door and opened the door and asked me what I wanted. I told her that we were here because of a phone call about a young female child that lived in the house that was possibly the victim of some type of neglect. The house is abandoned now. The photos that you're going to see were taken 10 days after. There was animal feces on the floor. There was chewed up food everywhere. There was trash everywhere. And there were spider webs hanging from the ceiling. There were thousands and thousands of cockroaches. This is actually Daniel's bedroom right here. When I walked in the room, her eyes were open very, very wide when she saw me. And her mouth dropped open and she did the little crab walk into the corner and tucked her knees up to her, wrapped her hands around her knees and started making grunting noises. The only thing she was wearing was a diaper, which had been soiled for quite some time. And she weighed nothing. She couldn't or wouldn't talk to me. I brought her out to this area here where the mother was living. And I said, how could this happen? How could you let this happen? And she said, I'm doing the very best I can. I told her, your best is not good enough.
So where did little Danny go after being rescued from that nightmare? Meet the family that took her in.
When Danielle first came to live with us, she was a couple months from being 8 years old. Developmentally, she was anywhere between 6 months to maybe 24 months. She didn't like walking and she loved being carried.
She would have a tantrum 7 or 8 times a day.
She would scream at the top of her lungs. She would stomp. She would flail her arms. She would throw herself on the floor. They were pretty spectacular. When Danielle first came, food was a constant concern of hers. She would eat it until she threw up.
And I heard the first time you saw her, you knew it was, you said that she was your daughter. Yeah.
I know right from the beginning. Yeah. That's my baby.
But obviously it didn't matter to you how far she could go. You just wanted to provide a safe environment for her. You wanted to give her a family, and because you didn't know when you took her in.
No, we didn't know how far she would be able to go, and we still don't. But I could see that there was a potential there. I could see somebody in her eyes. There's a person in there.
Well, today, Danny is 15 years old. She's a high school student, and we checked in with her and her family where they live just outside of Nashville.
At first, when she was going to school, it was hard to get her on the bus. Now, a lot of times she doesn't like to get off the bus, because she likes school. She really does. You got it. Yes, I know. Thank you. Thanks, sweetie. That was cool. You're doing good. The progress she's making in the last couple of years, it doesn't seem like a lot, but they're little steps. And little steps are big steps for someone that's disabled. She's learned how to do things that we never thought she would do. She said a couple of times, hey, Dad. And it's more an exertion when she says it. It's like, hey, Dad. Or she'll say, I love you. You want to go upstairs? What do you want to do? She's not very social. Mostly she's social with the teacher and like Willie and I and Diane sometimes. It's not because Diane's ornery to her or mean to her or anything. It's because of her mother more than anything else. Her real mom. She doesn't like women figures that are like mothers. She just kind of clings to me. You want to have something to eat? Puberty kind of set her back a little bit because of a lot of different things. I mean, you got to figure it's a 2-year-old girl in a 15-year-old body. And they don't know what's going on. The hormones are racing and all that stuff. And you can't explain it to them. It's tough on that part. But she's gotten through it. And we have to. Here you go. Go at it. She's food aggressive. When they found her, literally she was starved to death. She almost died. She was 40-some pounds when they found her. By the time we had her for about a year, she was already up to about 70-some pounds. And now she's up to about 130. So she's doing really good on that. But she's still aggressive about it. You know, she doesn't think that someone's gonna feed her. Within 2 minutes, she can crash the kitchen. So what we have to do is put locks on everything and hope the guy she never gets in. Thank you. Okay. Now we're gonna take you outside. You wanna go outside? Okay, let's go outside. The lifestyle, living on the farm, it's relaxed her a lot. Everybody's got you. Having Danny in my life, it has been a roller coaster ride, and I don't want to get off. Hey, she likes you. Everybody wants their girls to get married and have kids and family and all that stuff. But being more independent, that would be wonderful. And just being a part of society, that's a big plus.
So there is that, and then also a series of, gosh, why am I blanking on it? Foster care. And it will come up right when I see it first off, though. Not unwanted, but some of the documentaries are tough on. Okay, it's called Removed. That would be it. So I wanted to show you guys one of the first ones. There's 3 of these.
Starting an online store is easier than you think. Let me show you how to quickly open one
3,
with Shopify.
and as long as this is number 1. Yes. Let's see. It is. Okay. So this being a story about a daughter that's removed from an abusive household. And we'll start out on chapter 7 here too with the diversity in social work, and how folks acculturate. But here is this video on Removed.
Sometimes someone hurts you so bad. It stops hurting at all. Until something makes you feel good. And then it all comes back. Every word. Every hurt. Every moment. How could you ever understand where I come from? Even if you ask, even if you listen, you do not really hear or see or feel. You don't remember my story. You haven't walked my path. You haven't seen what I've seen. My past defines me. This is who I am. I am unseen, unheard, unwanted. That is what I am, if even I am anything. It seemed like the same thing that held me up forced me down. The world turned upside down, and order disappeared. Nothing was how it was supposed to be, and a heavy sadness filled my soul. Deeper and deeper I fell within myself, and nothing could draw me out. Trapped in the misery of my life, lost in the sorrow of my soul. Unable to see the light, unable to see the dawn, to feel, to hope, to dream. And I found the darkest days of my life kept coming. The blackest nights of my soul never stopped. It seemed like it was always nighttime and nightmares, and never morning. And maybe you wonder why, but mostly you try not to think about it, and try to get by, and try to survive. And all the other stuff seems so much like nothing, compared to just wanting the most important things back again. Like wishing you could see your mom's smile again, and hear her sing that one favorite song that always calms you down when things were all messed up. Or if you couldn't have her back, at least get to take care of your baby brother. 'Cause you know he needs you. He's gonna be so scared all alone. And who's gonna hold his hand and whisper it'll be alright to him? And who will whisper it to me? I know I am helpless, dependent, desperate. But what happens when those you need the most threaten your very existence? I've heard plenty of promises, and they all sound the same. Push hard enough, and sooner or later, they all prove to be empty. The sun comes up every morning, but do you know where? Each place it's somewhere different. It's hard to find east when you keep moving around, but at least it comes. It always comes. I've come to depend on that.
Quick question for you.
All right, so commercial break real quick, but these are some of the things that come up in foster care, and we're going to do the series of 3.
And slowly seasons changed around me. And it seemed this time that maybe the world would not be pulled out from under me again. Feet safe, roots starting to grow. Little buds of hope formed, slowly attempting to trust this new life.
Let me show you what I got for you. Sure did.
I wish someone would tell me it's gonna be okay. That one day, maybe, I feel normal. And I won't always be the one. That I'll have a mommy who will hug me and be strong for me. Because maybe I can't do it all by myself. This, my past, my history, my story, is not my fault. It's not because of me. It doesn't have to be what defines my future. I am lovable. I am worthy of care. And that glimmer of light, it makes all the difference. The glimmers of light give me hope that someday my summer will come.
right, so that's removed part 1, and there is a series of 3 of those, which I'll show in the later classes. In review of chapter 7, we get into the diversity in social work, and 7 goes over the minority responses to dominance. The first one being acculturation, so that was one of the older ways that folks had adjusted, where they would acculturate and assimilate. There's also accommodation, rejection, and marginality. So those are a few that come up. With cultural competence and self-awareness, we have the National Association of Social Workers standards for cultural competence. One being respectful and effective engagement with people of all cultures, with all languages, with all classes, and with all races. And then the importance of, as a social work practitioner, that self-awareness is important for foundation to ethnic sensitivity, because we serve all populations. You know, as a social worker, we're going to see every race, gender, creed, and all of the above. So it's important to even have some trainings. A lot of times, if you have an agency that serves one particular culture more than another, they will have a training on those things. For example, when I worked at Claremont Recovery Center, there was a lot of trainings on the Appalachian culture and living in Appalachia and family dynamics of Appalachia. And that helped when I worked with clients from Appalachia and addiction recovery. So getting back to our ecological model, looking at things ecologically, and the small inner circle you see there is person with their emotional strength, personal competence, values, and a relationship. The middle circle has more of the nurturing environment, family, church, and even self-help groups. And then the largest of the circles has the sustained environment. So what are their social resources you'll work with the families for? What are the economic resources you'll work with the families? What are the political resources? And we try as social workers to connect them with all of that. Now, going through the different statistics on population served, these are some of the things that we work with here. There's 4.8% of the U.S. population is Asian American. One of their values and beliefs here, it says influenced by Eastern philosophy and religion, so that would be Buddhism, and even sometimes, if from India, Hinduism and some of the religious practices there. So Asian Americans are a heterogeneous group. The region of origin, actually, they're about 3 billion of the world's 8 billion. And also, there's a generation of immigration. A lot of folks that have come over here from Asia. And the circumstances of immigration and resettlement, they're different for everyone. But a lot of folks started coming really when we opened up visas in the 1940s and 1950s with the American embassies and allowing people to travel. And that's how we get different foods and restaurants and whatnot. Now, the second population they cover is Native Americans. That's about 5.2 million of the population, divided amongst 565 tribes. And Alaska. There's high unemployment, poverty on and off the reservation. There's also a population of wellness as a balance of spirit, body, mind, and environment. And then parallel structures of tribal welfare councils and Bureau of Indian Affairs. So that is some of the diversity there. We also have Hispanic Americans next. So that is 16.3% of the population, expected to rise to 25% by 2050. And it includes several nationalities. So like Mexican, Puerto Rican, and Cuban Americans. Some of the Hispanic Americans have a large proportion of migrant laborers. They value trust in persons rather than institutions. And there's some religious diversity, but actually Latin America has a billion of the world's 2 billion Catholics. So most of them are Christian. So in the US, we do offer the diverse religions. So religions in today's world, you'll see in the community, sometimes people refer to it as spirituality instead of religiousness. And then some of the implications of religious and spiritual diversity. We have 5 of the major world religions that are Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, and Christian, and then Judaism. So those are the 5 major world religions. Now with religious diversity, we have some resources of religious community and a natural support network. Referrals if needed. If somebody wanted to have a Muslim counselor or Christian counselor, we would refer them to the proper counseling, and professional services associated with that. There is, honor and appreciation of religion and social work. Historically, that's where a lot of the social workers started. If you notice, many of the hospitals are named like St. Jude and St. Mark and, the Saints. So, it was a Christian hospital that took care of folks first. And the tenets of major religions are compatible with social work. You can see that when you look those up. Also, the last few slides, we have sexual diversity, which includes gay men, lesbian women, bisexual and transgender persons. Some of the issues as a social worker you may work with folks on is coming out, if they've experienced homophobia, also adolescent identity development, and workplace discrimination. So those are a few of the things. It was illegal to marry homosexually in the United States until about June of 2015. So that's when the law made it available to everyone to marry. And then again, the final slide, social work with diverse populations. The things we work with them on are oppression, and try to help them experience liberation from that oppression. Also, powerlessness. As social workers, we try to get them towards empowerment. Exploitation. We try to rid the exploitation and move it to parity, at least, if not empowerment also. Acculturation, which is, the new way to help bring immigrants here. Instead of assimilation where they do everything similar to Americans, they would acculturate, which is the maintenance of their own culture, and bring that as part of the unique diversity we have here. And then the final one, it says, instead of stereotyping, we want to look at their unique personhood, and work with that. So remembering to listen and hear them out. So we'll get more into that in Chapter 8 on Friday and look at Removed Part 2. Remember to keep up on the papers. I will keep all those open. And if you have questions, email at any time.